Gold rallied to an 18-month high today, passing $1,000 an ounce. The price has since fallen from those highs. But where is gold headed for the short and long term? Patrick Chidley is a senior mining analyst at Barnard Jacobs Meller. He joins us from Stamford, Connecticut. Patrick, welcome to Bloomberg News.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me on the show.
What are you making of these numbers with gold breaking that $1,000, the psychological barrier today?
Well, it is a bit of a psychological barrier. And obviously it's been there a couple of times before. But I do think that it's a price level that gold can go higher from here. But on the other hand, there are some mitigating factors that are probably going to keep it in a bit of a range still, in this sort of range, I think.
What are those mitigating factors? You don't believe that gold will retrace its all-time high?
Well, I do think it's got a good chance of going through there, but there has been there are some slightly negative issues to do with, for example, the Indian economy. The Indian monsoon, in fact, hasn't been that good, and that's been affecting gold demand on the jewelry side all year. We do think, however, there's a short-term issue right now that's pushing gold up in terms of buying ahead of festival seasons in India, in the light of them not having bought much gold through the year here.
Patrick, what about these gains? Are they sustainable? When gold reached $1,000 before, it wasn't able to stay there. What about this time?
Well, I think this time it's probably going to stay closer to 1,000 than it did previously, and I think that's not only because we're seeing a little bit of an uptick in the economy, and we'll see a little bit more buying on the physical side in terms of jewelry, but also it's becoming clearer and clearer to many people that people need to have a hedge against potential inflation, and it really is potential inflation at this stage, and it's really an insurance policy that we think that investors should have.
So do you see people investing in gold for the long term?
Yes, very much. I think when I say long term, maybe I'm talking about 5, 6, 7, 8 years. As we go through this period, I think that we're going to see inflation. And I think that's why people are feeling as if they need to have some gold. And I don't think it's a very widely held asset class, actually. And still, I think there's plenty of demand to come through from the investment side as a result of that.
On the subject of inflation, if the consumer and producer price indexes, according to most economists, are in check right now, when will inflation become a threat, and when will the Federal Reserve have to tighten rates?
That's a big question, I must say. When is the question? I think it's going to happen, but the timing of that, I'm not sure if I can really forecast that. I would say that it has to happen sometime in the next 2 years, and it could come sooner. It could be towards the end of that period, but certainly the Fed's going to have to raise rates eventually, and with all of the paper that's being printed right now, there's certainly going to be a need to reel in monetary supply, and that's obviously going to cause inflation, I think.
And we're watching the dollar move lower as gold rises. Would you advise keeping close track of that link in the months to come?
Yeah, that link, if you look at it versus the DXY index, for example, that's something that really has been a negative correlation to gold, let's say. So, as the dollar weakens versus that index, we see, gold going up, obviously, because people can hold gold as a store of value versus holding paper currency.
Is there an entry point right now to take advantage of the gold trade and ETF, perhaps? Anything you might recommend?
Yeah, well, I think the ETF is one way of playing it. Obviously, it's got some quite low entry costs. Physical gold is quite difficult to buy and sell in terms of the costs of trading it, for specifically for smaller investors. Stocks are a good way to play it, and you can get good leverage from buying gold stocks, and also hopefully participate in a better environment for those stocks to actually be able to grow as well on top of just the gold price movement.
Patrick Chidley, senior mining analyst at Barnard Jacobs Meller, joining us from Stamford, Connecticut. Patrick, thanks.